am going to call this meeting to order at 5 o'clock p.m. Please stand for allegiance.
Jesus, Michael.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we're going to go to correspondence.
Police Commission, March 11, 2024, summary of letters received from Granbury High School student, Granby High School student, in reference to Officer Sergeant Lassard. The student was working on their capstone project, quote, the difference between police officers and firefighters, end quote. They wanted to thank the members of the department for speaking with them. They were impressed with how much training the officers go through. Received from a resident regarding Officer Galducci and Sergeant May. The residents wanted to commend Officer Galducci and Sergeant May on their empathy and support during a trying time. Their son was involved in a medical call for service. Officer Galducci was the initial first responder, and his actions allowed the family a chance to spend time with their son and say goodbye. Over the weeks that followed the call for service, Officer Galducci reached out to them multiple times to check on them, and again after the passing of their son. Sergeant May also took the time to reach out to them. Quote, it's not often that most citizens see the good that a police officer or the department does, what they have to deal with. We did get to see that under the most unfortunate of circumstances, close quote. Received from a resident regarding Officer Arnold, Detective Devon, Sergeant Russell, and Officer Sheehan. In regards to a medical call, quote, words cannot show the appropriate amount of appreciation for what they did for us, close quote. Received from First Lieutenant James Munday of the United States Marine Corps, Sergeant, reference to Sergeant Lassard. Oh my gosh. Sergeant Lassard was part of a group of 8 officers to provide close quarter battle training to the Fox Company and Weapons Company Marines. The quality training provided to these Marines will allow them to take the knowledge learned back to the rest of their units. The training plan that was put together by the officers involved was, quote, excellent and speaks volumes to the quality of the officers, close quote. The Marines involved were very thankful for that training provided and appreciate the officers taking the time to better them. Received from a resident in reference to ACO Clark. These residents were having an ongoing issue with their neighbors' dogs. They appreciated ACO Clark coming out to their residents to speak and to educate them on ways to approach and rectify the issues moving forward. Her knowledge and understanding were helpful. End of letters.
Thank you so much. The approval of minutes. I didn't see any with our first one. Okay, so I am going to make a motion to put this to next month's meeting.
Yes, I second that motion.
Got the motion. Are there any discussion?
Yeah, you killed it.
Awesome.
So now you gotta ask if we're all in favor.
Oh, we did that part already. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous. We're gonna move on down the agenda and go to the reports. We do not have the chairperson's report, so again,
Correct. So
we're gonna make a motion to.
we don't need a motion, yeah.
We don't have
There's
to
just
do
no
that?
report.
Oh, no report. Okay, good. Now we'll go to the chief's report.
You are running a very tight ship here, moving right along.
Yeah. Time is money, right?
Dinner or wage?
So we currently have 3 vacancies, but we will be presenting a police candidate to you later during this meeting, and we are hopeful to bring another candidate to you in April. We still have numerous sworn personnel out on extended leave who are assigned to the patrol function. In fact, we have 5. 2 have been out the entire fiscal year and beyond. 1 has been out for the last 3 months and is expected to return in 2 months. The 4th has been out for over 3 months and is expected to return this month. So hopefully in the next 1 or 2 months we'll have 2 back. And the 5th is on leave from the patrol function, has been working in a modified capacity for 7 months and is not expected to return to full duty until sometime this upcoming fiscal We have had other officers on extended leave during this year, and we are expecting at least 2 more in the very near future to go out on extended leave. So how are we dealing with this? So last year, we moved our traffic officer and our detectives from their assignments to the patrol function to help out. That helped with the function, but took away from other services, as you can imagine. Most of the shortages are being handled with overtime. And as you can see on the budget status, as predicted, we will be over budget considerably by the end of this fiscal year. I expect that we'll be able to cover that overage within the police budget due to the salaries associated with the vacancies. So we'll all be within the budget, but again, another year where the overtime is significantly higher than what was budgeted for. Jared, our newest officer in the academy, is wrapping up the last quarter of the police academy with a graduation expected in April. After graduation, he will begin his field training program, which is expected to last until August of this year. And then he'll be on the road by himself and hoping to contribute to that patrol function. Our accreditation specialist has been with us full-time since September 2022. She has been an incredible addition to our department, but she has recently decided to pursue other opportunities. The upcoming vacancy has been posted on the town website at simsbury-ct.gov under employment opportunities on a page in the town manager and human resources tab, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn. Just a quick update on some training. We've been trying to balance the shortages and overtime expenditures while still providing professional growth opportunities throughout the department. Members of the department have recently participated or will be participating in training such as annual recertification, special victims investigations, advanced crash investigations, crime scene photography, human trafficking, critical incident dispatching, a mid-management course that we're hosting here in town, upper management level command college, and then an additional mid-management command school. There's also death scene investigations, media relations coming up, and others. So we're still trying to push for these trainings and professional development. Just a quick update on a project that hasn't been brought to you yet, called Rapid SOS. And we recently upgraded our capabilities in our dispatch center. It's a free service that we signed on to. It's a supplementary software which works in conjunction with the existing 911 system. It provides detailed subscriber information, including health warning alerts, so somebody can actually provide some warning alerts through their phone, and that can automatically be pulled up by dispatch if somebody calls 911. It also provides a more detailed mapping system using Google Earth instead of the software that the 911 system comes with, which will continually update the location as the phone is moving throughout our jurisdiction. So this greatly increases our ability to quickly locate a person potentially in distress. We're still looking at aspects of this. It's still very new for us, and there's another phase that we could possibly get into. So as soon as that is up and running, we will make sure that there's a presentation here to allow the commission to see how this works, and then we'll put something out by way of social media to try to draw people in to maybe use their phones to put in critical information if they want to. As of right now, anybody can call the police department and put some information attached to their address, attached to their phone within our system. So if there's a mobility issue at somebody's home, that can be put in there right away. So us, fire department, or the ambulance responds to somebody's home, that alert can pop up. That's currently in there now. This allows it to be done by a person on their own phone. Let's see. Members of the police department recently attended the 2024 Special Olympics Torch Run Kickoff, where they celebrated the 2023 accomplishments by Special Olympics and the Olympians and discussed the plans for this year. And earlier today, we started a speed enforcement campaign, specifically on rural roads through the end of May. This grant is financially supported 100% by the Department of Transportation, and effort will be scattered throughout the week at varying times through the end of May. We are in week 4 of our Citizens and Police Academy. It's week 4 of 10. That is going well. That's all I have for my report.
Sorry.
No,
Do we have a last date for the accreditation officer when she's leaving?
No, she is very flexible with us and is trying to stay as long as
She can.
she can and as long as we need her. The closing for that, I believe, is next Tuesday.
And my other question was around Rapid SOS. Is that an app that I, as a person, or like how do I opt in?
Right, so we will have that training for you and for the public, because I don't know exactly how that works. I know there is an app function, but I think it's as simple as turning that function on your phone without an app.
I have
So,
a question on
to be
the
determined.
On the same thing that you just talked about. So would folks be able to put in if family members have either intellectual, behavioral health disabilities? Would
So-
the officers know that before they
So
arrive?
anybody can do that now, calling us directly, and that can be entered in for
Okay.
an address or phone number. I don't know all the details for Rapid SOS, but that seems to fall right in line with the purpose of it.
I do know that one, I'm sorry. But you can do, because you can put certain family information in there for medical history and whatnot, so that will come up as soon as dispatch gets notified, all that information gets displayed. So they have it right there at their fingertips, so.
Is it tied to a phone number?
Yes.
So I could put in information for my child if they have something I want people to know.
I believe so. Again, I mean, I just knew that question specifically. We haven't gotten into the in-depth part of it, but I did know that portion, so I just wanted to address that.
Okay.
Sounds like a great program.
Any more questions? Am I moving on to new business?
Oh, you gotta do the monthly reports.
Oh,
We gotta talk to see if there's any questions.
oh, okay.
The numbers.
We're going to go over the consolidated monthly report and the preliminary monthly activity reports. Any questions? Somebody gotta ask Travis's question.
Is there anything we need to know that's not, any trends, anythings?
And there is nothing that I feel that needs to be brought to your attention. No trends, and I say that very cautiously.
I was looking at our traffic enforcement, and a really small percentage are actual written warnings. It seems to all be verbal, which kind of is in line with our community policing, where it's an opportunity to get the officer and resident relationship. That traffic grant, the speed enforcement grant, is that along the same lines where it's gonna kind of enhance our community policing, do you think?
It will. And every contact is an opportunity. It's an opportunity, first and foremost, to change the driving behavior. But second, to either build or enhance a relationship. It could be that person's first contact with the police. The whole purpose of stopping somebody is to change their driving behavior, or in some cases, let them know of a certain driving behavior because maybe they weren't aware that their turn signal wasn't working, or whatever it may be. But it's certainly right in line with our community policing philosophy.
Primarily monthly report question.
Vehicle thefts look like they're down, which is good.
What?
Vehicle thefts look like they're down, which is good.
And I see that, as in every year past, the activity in January has been more. In midwinter, less people on the road, I assume, less people traveling around. So it seems to hold true. It's good.
And overall, there's some fluctuations, like looking at all of 2023 and looking at 2022. Like in general, all the numbers are down. I would not say that they are necessarily statistically significant because they're minor. Maybe 54 less accidents last year than the year before, and that's fantastic that there are 54 less. I don't know out of 400 or 500 if that is statistically significant or not. Oftentimes it matters like whether we have a heavy snow season or not, because you could have a snowstorm that could, tally up 10 or 15 car crashes.
I did have a question on the incident statistics record where the report, where there seemed to be
patrol checks, almost 1,800 patrol checks in a month. How does that track with a normal month? Is that usually that high?
So they have been increasingly, well, not increasing, they have been high for probably 2 years now. And it seems like the philosophy of the patrol officer has changed, over the last decade or so anyways, where our patrol function, the officers are out there, they're driving through neighborhoods, they're driving through businesses, they're in and out of these all shift long. And the last couple of years, the officers have been starting to record those. In the past, where we've had spots that have traditionally been burglarized or there have been other issues, we would want to document that because somebody calls in and says, can you keep an eye on this, or we've had issues here, or the officer thinks that maybe there's an issue because regionally the gas stations have been burglarized or robbed. But now it's so easy and the officers are just so used to it that they're stopping at a location, they're quickly typing it in the MDT and logging that patrol check. They're not saying all this over the radio, so it's not 1,700 or 1,800 different transmissions times 2 or 3 over the radio to call this in. They're just quickly entering it in their computer. I would say if we ever went back down to a number of 50 or so, it's just a change in the officers that are out there. They're still doing all those checks and driving around, and we're able to see that. This is just a change in their sort of collective, starting off individually, and then their collective decision to note all these down.
Good thing.
Yes, and it does come in handy. If there's an incident that happens, we can go back and see sort of where the officer was. We have other ways of doing that as well through GPS, but this is a good way.
Is there a way to make it standardized so that all of the patrol officers are doing the same thing? So like you don't get Jenna doing it on her shift and then Mike just like not doing it.
Oh, it's
So-
just a
Michael, Mom.
So we don't use the patrol checks as a measurement of anything, of their activity, because, we can actually witness what happened over an 8-hour period. You could actually see that on a computer by GPS. And you can see that an officer has gone all over the place and doing all this stuff. And then putting in the computer and noting that, I don't know if that's necessarily better or not, because we can find that information out otherwise. So I think it's sort of much more of a preference, and again, not a measure of activity per se, because the officers should all be doing that's a core part of that patrol function.
All right, and then moving on to the budget, right? Just go over the numbers.
Did you all have a chance to check it out?
I checked it out, I have nothing.
The thing that rattles, of course, is the overtime, which you mentioned. One of these days we'll be up to full force, and hopefully that'll be a real savings for us. Hopefully. I don't have any other questions on the budget.
Okay. Okay. So, not making a motion to move right along now?
Yeah, you just go to new business.
Okay, we're going on now to new business, with the new officer recommendation.
Okay, and I will ask Nicholas Niagara to join us, please. Come see. So this evening, I would like to introduce you to Nick and present him as the newest candidate for police officer. Nick graduated from Canton High School and attended High Point University in North Carolina, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice. While in college, he participated in 2 internships, one with the Farmington Police Department and one with the West Hartford Police Department. Since graduation from college, Nick has been employed as a laborer at Tallwoods Farm in Canton, and more recently as a bartender at the Iron Horse Sports Pub in Simsbury. At work, he reportedly displayed strong leadership qualities, worked well as a member of the team, and worked well independently. He is described by his supervisors as trustworthy, as honest, respectful, and always willing to help and contribute. During the hiring process, department members noted politeness, electability, and friendliness. And just to sort of describe our process, again, to the commission and the public, there are many, many touches along the way. Nick had many opportunities to do ride-alongs, to meet with our detectives, to meet with our dispatchers, to meet with first-line supervisors, the command staff, the chiefs. There's a lot along the way, so he can find out more about the police department, and we can find out more about him. And that way we can look for fit, look for qualities, characteristics, and attributes. And Nick has what we think it takes to be a great police officer here. He's been highly engaged in the process, and we found his explanations to our questions very well thought out and thorough. His interests outside of policing include physical activity, in particular mixed martial arts. Nick has currently completed every aspect of the hiring and background process. In fact, it's been done for several weeks now, but we are still waiting on the results of one aspect of the process. So I'm asking the commission's approval to hire Nick as our next police officer, pending completion of background and the hiring process, with an expected hiring date within the next couple of weeks. This is Nick.
Hello, Nick.
Hi.
So I guess we're gonna ask you a few questions, right? Okay. I'll start. Have you ever been in a situation where a coworker or a friend put you in an awkward place? Without giving us any names, because this is a small town. Describe the situation and then how you handled it.
Yeah, so ever since I was 16, I've had a lot of service jobs. I started working at a restaurant when I was 16. So I kind of got put in a lot of situations with different coworkers and things like that. There was one job in particular where there was an individual drinking on the job, and it put me in an uncomfortable situation where I've never really dealt with that before, but knew that it wasn't right. So I just addressed it to the person and told them I wasn't really comfortable, as we were kind of a team behind the bar and working together. And that's something that I was just able to have like an easy conversation with the person, let them know that I wasn't really comfortable with what was going on. And I was able to talk to the person in a very calm manner, and they weren't upset with me at all, and they understood where I was coming from. So that's really just one example of, it could say, a uncomfortable situation at the workplace that I dealt with.
Okay, and another question that I have, in terms of, let's use your work experience at a restaurant or a bar. Have you ever been in a situation where a customer was yelling at you and screaming at you in your face? And if so, how did you handle that?
I never had any experiences that someone was directly like mad towards me at all. I was in situations where I had customers sitting at a table who were arguing, or just people in the restaurant would kind of get kind of close. There was a situation where I had to split up, kind of like a altercation, and it just taught me that I can talk to people in really calm manners and kind of talk them down from things even at their highest point. So never directed towards me in particular, but in that situation, kind of, yeah.
That was my question. I was gonna ask about drunk and belligerent people and being angry. But I'm probably gonna steal Michael's question. Why Simsbury? I noticed you were at Farmington and West Hartford Police Departments. Obviously, we're superior. But why do you think so?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Canton all my life. So I've had plenty of time to kind of explore neighboring towns. And Simsbury was always a town I spent a lot of time in. I used to run at Stratton Brook Park for cross country, and just really felt at home in Simsbury. So when I decided to apply to departments, I knew I didn't really want a big town like Bridgeport or something like that. So I kind of always knew in the back of my head, like, Simsbury was a place that I could see myself working in and for. So yeah.
That was my question.
I feel like that was gonna happen.
Like,
No, that was my question.
I just have two questions. You're no longer a bartender in town?
No, sir.
You probably had regulars that come in all the time. If you were to pull one of those pull a regular over, who's clearly, after you receive training, clearly intoxicated, you have no qualms about arresting somebody that used to be a regular in a place that you worked?
Yeah, not at all. That's something that I've thought about, because like as a bartender, your job is to, you know, communicate with people. You're on like a first name basis, you know, like their kids, how they are, like what their jobs are and stuff like that. So that's something I have thought about, and obviously it'd be an uncomfortable situation. However, I'd be prepared for it.
You wouldn't think twice about that, or would you think twice about that?
No, sir.
Okay. Second, the staffing in law enforcement is, departments are bleeding personnel. And the current trend is to get hired somewhere, go through the training, you get the post certifications anywhere in the state. And young officers always think the grass is greener. There's departments around here that are paying $100,000 to start, and you get to take a car and all this flashy stuff. Are you willing to give Simsbury, dedicate your career to Simsbury over and above 2 years or a year and a half or 2.5 years to really give it a good try? Because quite honestly, you're not a good experienced police officer until you've got about 5-6 years under your belt. Are you willing to give it that good effort to give this town what we need is a good police officer or good police officers, but to stay here and really develop your skills as a police officer and become an integral part of the department?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I've thought about a lot. From talking to a lot of people past in law enforcement, they say you really don't know what you're doing until 8+ years. And so when I was applying to Simsbury, intent was for the long term, something that I can see myself doing for a very long time. I'm not in for 2-year period, like you said. I want to try to give it as long as I possibly can.
I just recently retired from law enforcement in Hartford. And, the goal back then, when I came up, when the three of us came up in the 90s, was to eventually replace the chief. We're dedicated to that one department. That was your goal, was to replace him. So, to be the best officer you possibly could. So, just keep that in mind.
I do have a particular sort of question. If you were sitting up here, what would you want to know about you that we don't know?
That's a good question. Maybe how I am outside of work environment, I would say. That's what I would say. I have a lot of hobbies and things that I do outside of this per se. Like Chief Bolter touched on earlier, that I love recreational activities. I'm always hiking, mountain biking, running, just anything. And I think that's extremely important to know about me, that I have a lot of things that I do to kind of wind down and de-stress after a bad day. It doesn't really matter if I had a bad day, but if I'm into hiking or something, I don't really think about what's going on in my personal life. So that's something that I've had a long time to deal with, I guess, is just figuring out other avenues to de-stress and just,
That's a good thing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite color?
Say red.
And I have an equally unorthodox question. If you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
I was gonna say cheetah probably, because they're. I think I heard you say cheetah. I'll say cheetah. I grew up running, and I always thought they were super cool. They're fast, quiet, things like that. So I feel like it's a.
Okay.
Are you married?
No, that's it.
Serious girlfriend?
No.
Any kids?
No.
Ask those questions.
I'm going to relax.
No,
I'm
you
going
can't.
to-
You can't. Those questions.
I apologize. Is your family
Yeah.
prepared for you to come out with your adventure of your experience as a police officer?
Absolutely. So I've wanted to do this since I was a little kid. And something I always told my parents that I wanted to do. So I think they've had kind of a long time to think about it. I have a mom who's a nurse, so she doesn't work the typical 9
I
to
don't
5.
think you can tell me that.
You can volunteer whenever he wants.
She doesn't kind of work like the typical hours. When I was growing up, she'd work night shift, and my dad would take care of us during the day. So my family has been like super supportive about it, and especially my friends too. They've known I've wanted to do for a very long time, so I have a good support system.
It's not a normal job.
No, not at all.
It's not a normal job. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so I am going to make a motion to move us to executive session
So we can.
so we can discuss. Oh, just learned.
I second that motion.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
You want me to go?
Okay. I will move to approve the hiring of Nick Laganidro as a police officer pending full completion of the background and hiring process with an anticipated start date within the next 2 weeks.
Whoa. I'll second that.
What?
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Woohoo, welcome.
How do you say your last name?
Yeah.
Lagana Grill.
Lagana.
Get
I started to write it down when you said it phonetically, and then I got distracted, and then I was like, I
It's not an easy one.
regret that later.
Cool. Very good. Excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting,
We're not.
or not.
We'll celebrate.
Okay, the next, action item on the agenda is a discussion and potential action on resolution regarding pension plan changes. I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Caulfield to discuss it.
Alrighty. As you all are aware, the town manager sent us a memo with a potential resolution stating, "My office has requested that the Board of Selectmen consider an amendment to the town's retirement plan which would allow eligible participants to take an in-service distribution of benefits while continuing to serve the town and its citizens. This matter is currently under review by the Board's Personnel Subcommittee. The proposed amendment would establish an in-service distribution option for certain unaffiliated employees serving at or above the department head level within town government and is being recommended in order to support both our recruitment and our retention of key personnel. 2 of the employees who would become eligible to elect such a distribution, were the amendment adopted, are the police chief and the deputy police chief, once their eligibility criteria are met." He proposed the following resolution, which I'm going to read. Resolution. Whereas recruitment and retention of police officers has become a challenge for towns and cities throughout the United States, causing communities around the country to consider what steps they can take to retain officers at all ranks. And whereas the current defined benefit pension plan offered by the town of Simsbury to non-bargaining group unaffiliated employees sets 25 years of service as the maximum length of service during which an employee may accrue benefits and does not permit an in-service distribution, essentially ensuring an employee will leave upon maximizing his or her retirement benefit. And whereas the town manager has informed the police commission that a review is underway concerning a proposed amendment to the town's retirement plan, which would A, permit an in-service distribution by certain unaffiliated participants who meet all of the plan's retirement eligibility requirements, and B, approve a reduction of the so-called pension multiplier from 2.5% per year of service to 2% per year of service for all unaffiliated employees hired after the effective date of the amendment or July 1st, 2024, whichever is later, and whereas the Simsbury Police Commission supports these proposed amendments to the town's retirement plan as being in the best interest of the town and its citizens, now therefore be it resolved that this resolution in support of the proposed amendments to the town's retirement plan be transmitted to the Board of Selectmen, Personnel Subcommittee, and to the town manager for their consideration. So I move that we consider the potential action on resolution regarding the pension plan changes.
Second.
Okay.
Move to what, sorry?
That we take potential action on the resolution regarding pension plan changes. She seconded. And then,
Did you run through that again?
No.
listen, I did a good job just now.
Yeah.
I don't have any discussion, I'm in support of this, however, Commissioner Schweizer sent an email, which I'd like to read. He says, "Dear fellow police commissioners, thank you for discussing the town manager's memorandum titled Proposed Amendment to Town Retirement Plan and dated 05 March 2024 at this evening's Police Commission monthly meeting. For our records, my position is that I am in favor of the Board of Selectmen adopting this measure for 2 reasons. 1, the financial savings to be realized by the town, and 2, the benefits realized by incentivizing and retaining experienced, knowledgeable, and seasoned town government employees. Very respectfully, Travis Schweitzer." Nothing further.
Reducing that from 2.5 to 2, is that for the life of the pension, or is that once
It's the plan.
Yeah.
the total plan, reducing that down? So it's not as soon as you start drawing on the pension, it reduces down to 2. It's 2% from 2 to 2 now.
So there's no further discussion.
Well, I have some very serious thoughts on it because, you know, we have dealt with the problems of trying to have a full-fledged, full-bodied police department ever since I've been involved in this commission, which hasn't been all that long enough. And I think the first comment, that police officers around the country, the challenge for towns and cities to maintain a quality police forces. For the last 10 years or so, everything has sort of gone downhill. It's very difficult to have a force like we have. I think that we have a pretty darn good police force here. We're very lucky. It's different than the average barrack. And I think it's very important now that we're not, you know, suffer the potential loss of leadership in the police department at a time when we are putting together a model force. So I'm 110% in favor of this myself.
So if there's no further discussion, right? Okay. What did you say?
We are going to vote on the adopting of the resolution regarding pension plan changes.
The resolution that you read.
Right, and then I seconded, right? All right.
Yeah, so now we just vote.
Okay, now, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Opposed?
Any opposed?
No.
All right, so,
Next item is new business.
next item is old business.
That's new too. I went to the budget workshop this weekend. It was very long. And they really hashed out all of the details of the town's budget. There seems to be a need for a lot of expenses to be cut. But they are well aware that Certus, the department, and the town manager all acknowledge that we need additional staff in the form of at least one police records clerk. So hopefully, when that process continues.
Full-time.
Yes, full-time. Well, we need 2, but right now it looks like 1 is under consideration. So the chief gave a statement at the end that I thought was very good. An excellent job. So the next meeting is this evening after ours. So if anybody else would like to come downstairs and watch, I would enjoy having you. That is my only old business update.
All right. Any other old business? Okay, so now.
I'd like to make a meeting to adjourn.
You're gonna make a meeting?
I mean, did I say meeting?
I'll make a minute to reflect on the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to second the meeting agenda.
Don't put you confused. You're confused.
You know what? I read all of this flawlessly. I would like to say, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.